Welcome to the Psychic Side here on the A1R Psychic Radio Network at Moonstruck TV. I'm your host, John Cappello. I'm a psychic medium from the Texas area, and I've been doing this work a little over 30 years. And I was voted #1 male psychic in the United States, so that's pretty good. I have been focusing on developing your own psychic abilities on our program. And last month we focused on clairsentience, and we talked a little bit about the 12 different nuances of 12 sentience. And this month we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to talk about clairvoyance, and we're going to get into that with each of the programs. But I wanted to take a moment to tell you one of the reasons why I talk a little bit about the nuances of each of these psychic abilities. And we're going to talk about the 12 nuances of clairvoyance later on, and maybe next week. But the reason why I'm talking about these different nuances is because when you're developing your psychic abilities, you may be able to focus on one of those nuances, but not the other ones. And it's important to go ahead and develop that nuance, develop those things that you're good at, because other people are good at other things, and some people feel like it's kind of a competition, and it's not a competition. It's just about developing each of these nuances like a muscle. And it's important as you work with the gifts that you have, and just because someone else is really good at something or one of the particular nuances of one of the psychic abilities, it doesn't mean that you're not good at other things. Like, for instance, this month we're going to talk, like I say, about clairvoyance. Well, part of clairvoyance is dreams, and we'll talk more about dreams as well. But some people get some very prophetic dreams, and they're visual, very visual images. Or stories, if you want to call them, almost like an Instagram story, I guess. But it doesn't, if you don't get those vivid dreams, it doesn't mean you don't have clairvoyance. It means that you might have another nuance of that particular skill. And the same way with clairsentience. Clairsentience, we talked a little bit about how you have physical sensations and stuff like that, and gut feelings and hunches and just different areas of clairsentience. And you may be good at one, but not some of the other ones. And if you're not, it just means that those are areas for you to develop. So I have a book out called Soul Exercises for the Open Mind. It's available on Amazon or Balboa Books. Balboa is the original publisher of this particular book. And it goes through some of those nuances. I'm probably going to have to update that book one of these days. But this month also, I am going to be having a full day of workshops developing psychic abilities in the Plano, Texas area. And it is going to go through each of the psychic senses. And I'm going to go ahead and give a certification for that, because I hope to get into mediumship later on in the year. And the reason why I am going to do the certification is because I don't want people to get into the mediumship class who are not certified. And the reason why I want them to be certified with the lingo I use and the things that I do, the tools that I want to install, is because this way we're all on the same page. And it doesn't mean you can't learn from other people, and you should. Yeah, I'm not the definitive word on anything, but it makes it a little bit more difficult if we're not speaking the same language, or we're not on the same page with the ideas that I have been I have found to be true. So these are things that I want to impart, and we only have about 15 minutes on our program, and I'd like to thank you for joining me for my 15 minutes of weekly fame. But we are going to talk, like I say, about clairvoyance. And when you have clairvoyance, a lot of people say, "Well, how do you know you have clairvoyance?" Well, for me, all it is kind of looking up. Just look up. Look up into your third eye, and your third eye is that window of the universe. And for me, it's almost like always having a double vision. Whenever I'm out and about, I have to pay attention and I have to focus. But when I do, I can see things around people that sometimes they don't want me to see. But it's a very powerful gift. Now, just because I said that doesn't mean that it's a single sight, because a lot of times when I see people, I see like television sets around them. It's just like just different television sets, and you have several images that come around people, and you have to kind of pick and choose which one you want to talk about, because the client or the person that you're talking to, they may have another idea of what they wanted you to discuss, and if you pick the wrong television set or the wrong channel, then they're going to say, oh no, that's not it. For instance, I had a reading once with a lady, and I kept seeing a lot of real estate, a lot of open land around her, and I kept seeing other things. You'll see mediumship, you'll see people coming in too, but you might see their animals, or you might see something else, and I also saw a ring around her, but someone's ring, and I told her, I said, well, I see a lot of real estate around you. And she says, no, that's not it. That's not it. Well, she come to find out she was a real estate agent, but I didn't know that. But she wanted to talk about this ring that she had from a grandmother, and she wanted to find out more information about it. Well, I saw the ring, but I chose the wrong television set. I chose the wrong channel. And once she said it's the ring that she was interested in, well, then I focused on the ring and I could talk to her about that. So when you are a clairvoyant, you might not just see one thing. You may see several things, because as I've told you in the past, that we have this energy around us, which is like rubber band balls, rubber bands that go around us, and we see the different areas where there's stress or there's emphasis in a person's life, and when our clairvoyance touches someone else's energy rings, we interpret it. And so, was I wrong about the real estate? No, for this lady, but I was wrong because she was interested in the ring. So it's just a matter of picking the right energy string, if you want to call it that, or a rubber band that they wanted to talk about. Now, when you are doing a reading for someone, it's the most predominant, or maybe the largest television set that you see, and that's the one that you would naturally gravitate toward. And this particular case with this lady, it was the real estate, so that's why I had to go there. And she did validate it, and that's important, because I wasn't wrong about that. I didn't say, oh, well, you're a vet. I didn't say, oh, you're a lawyer. I said, no, you're a real estate agent. You have lots of land, or you're always looking at different houses, going through neighborhoods. So I was correct about that. And it's just a matter of you trusting your senses. And another thing is that I've always tried to get people to work on finding a support group, because when you have a support group, or you have people that are helping you validate things, it's really a good thing, because then you develop your confidence, because the client is the arbiter of the truth. As soon as the client says no, well, then they're right and you're wrong. Or you have to kind of back up, and you got to look at other areas that you're sensing around a person. So you may notice that when people are giving readings, the client will say no, 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 no. Well, it's not that the psychic is necessarily wrong. It's that they are not on the same rubber band, or they're not on the same energy string, and because the energy string that they picked up was more prominent, or more had more significance to their abilities. But once they get on track, well, then they're fine. So it's not a matter of being foolish or trying to trick anybody. It's just a matter of sensing which energy is strongest around others. The same is true with all of the psychic senses. This is just the way it works. Okay, and it's something that as you are developing your own senses, you got to give yourselves a little bit of what you might want to call wiggle room, and also journal some of these things, and you must learn the mechanics of the abilities that you possess. And as you learn a little bit more about yourself, you get better. You just get better. So it's a lifetime of learning, a lifetime of trying to figure out the things that you see. Now, one of the things that you need to understand about clairvoyance is that it's often flashes. Okay, so when you get a flash of a picture in your mind and you don't understand it, then you have to go back to that psychic test that I talked about a long time ago on one of the previous programs. And you have to also kind of maybe memorize that flash, because if you memorize the flash, later on you might be able to pick up details, and you might be able to say, oh, you know, that looks like a part of a boat, or that looks like part of a car, or that looks like something else, or a coat. And when you do that, well, then the energy from that image will make more sense. Now, why do we get flashes of psychic energy? Because once again, we go back to that rubber band ball. When you have that rubber band ball and you have all of these things going around and around and around, when your energy hits the other person's rubber band, you either see the images in a line like a movie, or you see it in a flash, you see. So these are just a few tips that I wanted to give you today about clairvoyance. You know, I also want to tell you a little bit about my meetup group before we close today. My meetup group is going to be starting up very soon. We just made a deal with a restaurant where we can have some free meetups. If you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, look for that. It's called Beyond Metaphysics Meetup Group, and I'm delighted to start that again. So once again, I want to thank you today for joining me here on the Psychic Side. Be sure to go to our sponsor's website, Miracles of Joy. Use promo code PS0223 on their website and get a big discount on your purchase. So once again, thank you very much for being here. Go to our website if you'd like a reading. I'll be happy to do that for you. And then you become a psychic VIP. So look forward to hearing from you soon, and see you all next week. Thank you so much for being here today.